Now let's go back for a second. So because my constituents now have asked me, they thought I was opposed to this deal.
Why would they think that? I even if I didn't know, I would have thought that you were in favor of it.
I was in favor of this deal for the jobs, but I was opposed to the process that took place.
Okay.
The governor cut a secret deal with Amazon, which is one of the largest corporations in the world, to bring them here with no legislative oversight whatsoever. So that is a legitimate question. Now, for this particular deal, when you look at cost benefit, 25,000 jobs coming in and what we're putting in. On the state side, I believe that amounts to about $48,000 per job. If you look at Virginia, when they attracted Amazon, they spent about $22,000 per job. But if you consider this, Long Island and New York City, the state of New York is so tough to do business. You know, we've created such a tough business climate, so unattractive for existing business and for new business to come in. So, of course, we needed to have a greater incentive. So, but now we look at the local officials, because Amazon, like you said, specifically said state and local officials are the reason why we're not coming.
Yes.
They expressed concerns, and it varied. And the concerns that I have, I wouldn't have wanted to kill the deal over that. But I think that the legislative oversight, when you're dealing away what ultimately came to $3 billion in tax credits, abatements, things like that, that's something we need to take a look at, is that the governor has that much power to do that. The local officials, there is a concern. You've talked about it on your show, this feeling of anti-business in New York State. And this is just indicative of where we are. You know, we are the most costly state to do business.
But de Blasio was a key player, too. I mean, he was looking at about $1.3 or $1.7 billion of city funds that were going to go into this because it was going to be located right there. They have a city income tax.
Right.
You know, that was going to benefit them also. And that's why you had that alliance between de Blasio and Cuomo. And
locally, though, is it NIMBY? Do they want this? Do they not want it? What was the response from the local community?
I think what the local community was saying, and a lot of the elected leaders, were they felt that this was corporate welfare going to a very wealthy corporation, and then they felt that this tax money would be on the backs of local business. Now, obviously, that's one way to look at it. You could also look at it that 25,000 people coming here with very good paying jobs, they're going to go to lunch. They're going to be using the services. They're going to be homeowners. They're going to be paying property taxes. They're going to be so. Again, it's a complex situation, but I think that it may have been doomed from the beginning when the governor did not clue in some of these key leaders, as this is something that we're looking to do and get them on board. On the other side, again, the people of New York should be angry about this deal falling through. You know, and make no mistake, I am upset as one of the youngest members of the state legislature. This is just, it paves the way. We're going to have a very difficult time attracting other tech companies to come to New York.
That's it too.
After this,
you know, because when Legislator Anker was talking, I said, "Well, at this point here, it's a dead issue. But what about the future?" You know, that's the whole thing.
And there needs to be transparency when you're dealing with government and communities and business. You have the community needs to be part, and the legislature of all people like yourself. We need to be part of the of what happens and how it will change our environment. It's a shame that it fell apart. It's too bad. Maybe they could have reduced it down to maybe a $1 billion deal and make it smaller and then let it grow and see if it works. That's why government has these, what we call them, pilot programs. And then we see how things are working. If they don't work so well, then it will eventually probably go away.
I want to take a quick call, 631-451-1039. We have former Assemblyman Dean Murray on the line. Hey, Dean, how are you?
Hey, good, Tom. I just wanted to chime in, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go right ahead. We're having a lot of fun today, Dean. We're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I want to thank Doug. I know he's been very vocal about this and tried to be clear because it's a complex issue. And he's right. There's a lot to be angry about right now because, frankly, we were let down. And he brought up a very, very good point. This is going to have far-reaching implications. This is not just the immediate of Amazon leaving and us losing a possibility of $27.5 billion and 25,000 good-paying jobs. It's much more far-reaching than that because the message that was sent to other companies is, if you try to come here, we're not exactly going to play nice. It was the tantrum, basically, by the state Senate, Democrats and Generis in particular, the public tantrum, the name-calling, the putting down Amazon, putting down their owner, calling them out publicly and basically trashing them, that just sent a terrible, terrible message to businesses throughout the world. of how New York deals with business.
I think we have a serious problem, and I think what both you are saying and what the Assemblyman is saying is that we might have that future problem. Let me ask you this. Last year when you were in session and this started to come up and we had a lot of excitement that they were going to be settling here so close to the Long Island area, did you get an inkling that this might not happen? Because I thought it was a slam dunk. That's what I thought.
Well, we were excited. Let's back up a little earlier than that. And we were putting in a bid here in my district, actually, at Brookhaven Collaborative Airport. And we put in a very strong bid there. And let me be straight. I was actually over at Town Hall yesterday when the news broke and spoke to the supervisor who says, look, we're reaching out right now to see if we can revive that. Let's see if we can bring them back to Brookhaven. I doubt it.
I think they're so turned off on New York from what I read. They got so turned off. They just said, we don't need you folks. Goodbye. That's
very turned off.
Yes.
Yes. And but to the supervisor and the other officials' credit, they are going to reach out and see if
I hope so,
they can get a response.
I support that.
Yep.
But to that point, Doug brought up again another good point. It was the governor wanting to be the hero, the knight in shining armor that rides in and saves the day by making his own deal. And by doing so, and I've been public about this, I said it last week on the air with you, Tom, that I thought they gave away too much. He just wanted to get the deal done so he could say he did.
Okay, all right.
Did they need to give $2.8 billion? Probably not. But understand, that's also not writing out a $2.8 billion check. It's like paying an employee commission. You only pay that commission if they make a sale. So this $2.8 billion was based on a projection of $27.5 billion coming to the state. So it wasn't, while yes, to a degree it's corporate welfare, it wasn't a giveaway where we're writing out a check. But it should have been a better deal. And Sarah brought up a great point. There should have been a provision in there that said, of the 25,000, because we had projections of at least 25,000 employees or jobs. There could have been more. So the provision should have been in there. In order to get your full incentives, 25,000 must be 25,000 New Yorkers. Not from New Jersey, not from Connecticut, but New York employees.
I like it. Yeah.
Now, that could have been negotiated, but instead, the Senate Democrats threw a tantrum, held their breath, kicked their feet, called them names, and chased them away. And that's what happened. And
look
it's a shame.
Look at Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. She's declared this a victory. And I just think, I'm telling you, she and I are the same age. She's a congresswoman. I'm a state assembly person. And when you look at a millennial, especially in public office, she is fitting into every single stereotype, and it bothers me every day because when she's sitting there chasing away business, that's not what we should be doing as
in
a
her
state.
own district. That was her own district. That was her own congressional district.
And I think
But it's also...
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, Sarah.
I think, you have to balance this out. It's a huge responsibility to change someone's lifestyle, and when you bring these businesses into communities, there needs to be a lot of communication. And I think the governor, and he's done some good things, but he's also done a lot of projects, including the Common Core and legalizing marijuana, and he's rushing and he's doing this and putting the cart ahead of the horse. You got to slow down, and I'm not big on government slowing down. I want to go. I want it to expedite. I want things to happen. However, when it's this big of a project, you need to look at all the perspectives and really get input from every source around and then move forward. It's a shame that this has happened. It really is.
And to what you're saying, the legislature, we represent the people. So if that had gone up for a vote, I absolutely would have supported that deal.
Let me give Dean the final word. Go ahead, Dean. I want to go to other calls, but go ahead, Dean Murray.
I want to understand this, too, that you reap what you sow. This didn't just happen in this one bubble. This has been building because we have such a business-unfriendly environment in New York State. Just remember speaking of tax breaks. There were tax breaks promised to several smaller and bigger companies a few years ago, but we ran into a deficit problem, and the state reneged on those tax breaks. And I asked the question during budget hearings, is this going to come back to bite us? Do people trust us anymore? Well, I got to tell you, you add that on top of this, and no, businesses are not going to trust New York State much more.
That's the problem. Going forward, the future, how's that going to bode well for a business climate here in New York? You hit it right on the head, Dean Murray. Exactly. I appreciate it so much. Dean, thanks for calling on.
Thanks,
appreciate it. Thank you. Big problem here.